Thanks, Fred. I
Good
have to tell you
advice.
that I'm seeing the exact same thing at the medical center and in our hospitals. And as someone who has two high-level healthcare providers in her family, a doctor and a nurse, I'm particularly concerned about family members. So buy a smaller turkey. We can buy a big one next year.
Right.
Thank you, commissioners. We are live and you can call order when you're ready or ready to call the meeting to order.
Good morning. Thanks very much, Brenda. Good morning, everyone, commissioners.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners, staff, and those joining us on Facebook. I'm appreciative of your time this morning. Today is Friday, November 20th. I'm calling the Board of Commissioners of the Bi-State Development Agency meeting to order at 8:30 a.m. Myra, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Winmiller,
Present.
Commissioner Zimmerman,
Here.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Simmons,
Present.
Commissioner Gully, Commissioner Galladay,
Here.
Commissioner Pistello,
Present.
Commissioner Cox,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Beach.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Myra, were there any comment cards submitted for today's meeting?
No, there were no comment cards.
Thank you. We can move on then to agenda item 4, the minutes from the September 25th, 2020 Board of Commissioners open meeting. The minutes have been provided for your review. A motion is needed to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Abstain. I don't know what the motion was. I'm sorry for joining late.
Oh, I'm sorry. The motion was approval of the minutes on September 25th.
Then aye.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, who were the abstentions?
Cox is one.
Also Pistello.
Thank you. I think those two board members were not present at that meeting.
And the motion did pass.
Thank you. I'm going to turn now to the President and CEO, Talby Roach, and ask him for comments.
Good morning, everybody. So I am going to share my screen and move very quickly through essentially a slide presentation, which was sent to you. We intended to get to last meeting, but we just had a full agenda. And so this is the exact presentation that I did send to you. And I'm going to go through it briefly here. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, very good. So as you all may know, we did receive $142.4 million of CARES funding, and I am addressing today how we are handling those dollars. Now, they did move through CARES, and the conduit agency is FTA through a traditional program known as 5307. Now, typically $5307 do require a local match, but of course it's different associated with this. And the program NFTA was used as the conduit agency simply as an oversight capacity. I think it was a really wise idea. And of course, we work with our partners at FTA every single day. But there are some individual kind of idiosyncrasies associated with these programs that meant that we had to make a slight adjustments to how we allocate for these dollars. So for instance, as an example, in our overall funding scenario, roughly Illinois accounts for 25% of our operating budget, okay, or really on the revenue side. and Missouri accounts for roughly 75%. Traditionally, 5307 money is allocated by population and population density, and therefore it's not an accurate reflection of the split. So I worked with, for instance, our CFO and with our treasurer, Tammy Fulbright, to work out this more fair and equitable apportionment of CARES funding. And so it's reflected here in this slide. The second logic about CARES funding is, although we are eligible and could draw down all $142 million based on capital projects and so on, that is not what we feel is a wise expenditure of the money. The idea is to spread CARES over a period of time so that stabilizes the system, so that hopefully at some point we are on the other side of the effect of the pandemic. So this slide shows, in general, how we intend on doing that. So obviously the green, very small portion being FY 2020. Then most of it being used up here, $89.3 million in 2021. But then we're still preserving a reserve of $50.2 million for FY 22, which indeed gets us to that point, which we're thinking is going to be at least until October of 2021, where hopefully we'll be on the other side of the pandemic and start a recovery. So the idea is to tread water and try to stabilize the system and have it ready when hopefully we can start moving on. So specific to Missouri, what happens is, of course, the Missouri dollars are mostly dependent on sales tax. So inevitably, there's going to be a significant effect on sales tax. And I have already made this presentation to those partners, and we have shown them and taken a discount associated with the sales tax funding. And we have anticipated a reduction of 20% for both the county and the city. And then what we're doing, and this slide shows, is we're making that delta up with CARES funding. Okay, so that allows us to spread CARES over time and allow our municipal partners, of course, to adjust. And this slide simply shows that. Same thing with the city, although the city is the smallest of our three funders. And what I can tell you right now, and I did promise both the mayor and Sam Page when we looked at this supplement, is to look at where the projections are actually coming. And actually, we're ahead of the game in St. Louis County, which is very good news. We have taken the 20% discount on sales tax, and they're running closer to 13%. It is the opposite actually in the city. The city is actually running closer to 21%, so we're slightly under on that. But my team is telling me that by the time the fiscal year completes, we probably will be good. So we're not recommending any adjustments. Of course, I'm also showing very quickly that we do expect significant and are seeing significant impacts to passenger revenue, just like every other business in the midst of the pandemic. And we are showing that. I've actually discussed this very thoroughly with Jessica Mepfer-Miller, and we're trying to hedge our bets on what we think is possible in fiscal year 2022. So of course, we'd like to get back to 100% as soon as we're on the other side of the pandemic, but it's going to take some time for us to get to pre-pandemic levels. So we're showing that slight discount in these projections. So all of this does relate to our overall financial trending. And of course, I've been trying very hard to try to continue to look at that fundamental principle, to boil it down to simple principles to relate to you as a board. And of course, this is probably my favorite slide. You're probably sick of seeing it by now, but I'm showing what is the fiscal trending over time. And you can see, obviously, this point, this square, is when obviously I joined the agency and we started this new philosophy. And the green line is where we are right now. And we're roughly, I believe we're going to come in, well, I know we're going to come into budget at roughly this number. The good news being that we are showing a 3-year average annual growth rate of 1.7%. for an agency in our circumstance across the country and for others, this is very, very good. And I want to commend staff at trying to stay to this discipline growth rate. And of course, it's very important that our growth rate does not exceed what the normal sales tax growth is. If it does, we're obviously in big trouble. So the good news is that it is not with the current projections. So of course, I made this presentation to, for instance, staff to try to drive where our financial philosophy is. And I use the same kind of presentation, and I just wanted to show you. So what I do is I use it as a trigger point to be sure that staff is aware of what their budgetary limitations. And this slide happened to be in there, and I left it in there just so you all could see how do I also then communicate with staff about making these individual decisions and driving what they're doing every single day. They're doing an excellent job. It's hard. Obviously, I think everyone is challenged by this, but right now I'm very proud of what they're doing. And I think they are adhering to these fundamental principles. So I want to keep it brief so that I don't take up too much time, and I want to be sure that I address any questions. And so I'm going to leave my presentation up just for a second in case anybody wants me to reverse to any of those specific slides. So I'll pause there and ask for any questions.
Simmons has a question.
Yes, sir.
You stated you had presented that to Sam and to the mayor of city. Did you have a chance to do that to Chairman Kern in St. Clair County?
So I have not, but I did make the presentation to the St. Clair County Transit District, as you know, Chairman, at Tuesday's meeting. I have talked to Chairman Kern about this, and I have talked to Manager Sharkey, but I'd be happy to do that with Chairman Kern. And now it is very true that St. Clair County, as you know, is in a much more stable environment because they are not as dependent on sales tax because they enjoy the state support. And there is a modification that we make to the presentation that is Illinois specific because of that state support. And of course, you saw that presentation on Tuesday. But I'll be happy to do that specifically, Commissioner, and be sure that Mark doesn't have any specific questions there.
Fine, thank you.
Are there other questions from the board members, comments?
Just a quick request, and if it was sent before, my apologies, but Talby, could you have someone resend me that slide, or at least slide number 7? I'd like to share it with my county board chairman to show some of the good work we're doing with trying to, make the budget work and the reality that we're in. So that would be helpful. Thank you.
Happy to do so, Commissioner.
Yeah, I commend you on this, Talby, and I like how you're trying to use that CARES funding to smooth things over time to make up the gap. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Thank you, sir.
Just to follow up on that, so there is no issue whatsoever in extending the deadline and spending this CARES Act money?
No.
For other pots, there is. That's why I know I'm being overly cautious, but.
That is right. For other pots, there is. And so there has been some controversy in how to manage these funds. And so I consulted with our financial team about what my philosophy is that you've seen here. I think it's very foolish to pull all of the money down. For one, we would have to show that money on our books. And, when I'm going into our funding partners about what our responsible use of this, we would have to be carrying $142 million on our own books. And that doesn't make sense. It doesn't show a cogent and normal use of money over time. Some other transit agencies have been doing that. I think that they are wrong about that philosophy. Now, their numbers tend to be different, just as our numbers are different compared to the funding scenario between Missouri and Illinois. They're very, very different scenarios. So you have to make the appropriate adjustments within those idiosyncrasies. But I have turned back, for instance, to our CFO and to Ms. Mark Vago and to Tammy Fulbright to be sure that they were it had endorsement of this plan, and they do. And I think it's the smart move for our agency.
Thank you. I'll just make one quick comment, and that's if there is additional pandemic-related funding, you are going to need to have to consider that if you get another round. So I would say be ready to be flexible and nimble in how you spend this money. And I hope if there is a demand that the money be spent quickly in the second round or third round, actually, that you have projects ready to be able to do that.
I have a follow-up question, Rose.
Go ahead, Herb.
Just a comment to piggyback on your statement there. And I understand, Toby, you're saying your financial people are saying this is the wise thing to do, but on the legal side, I would think that we should have the legal, because I know we are proposed with the problem over here of having to spend that money to a date. If not, it gets returned back. So as Rose said, we don't want to get in that position.
Sure. So I can reiterate that and show you the individual legislative pieces that shows that CARES Act does not have a clawback provision, as it doesn't. But even in the normal clawback provisions are 5 and 6 years, and obviously we're spending the money within FY22. But I'll be sure to reiterate that, and I will reference the specific CFR. And I did want to mention, I discussed this financial strategy actually with Makti Ahmed, our regional FTA supervisor, and he is very much in agreement that this is a wise strategy.
Good.
I have received his endorsement and have presented it in concept to him. So that's an important add that I failed to mention.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none. You've stopped sharing your screen. Thank you. It allows me to get back to the agenda. Under item number 6, we actually now are going to move to a report of the Combined Operations Committee and Audit, Finance, and Administration Committee. Commissioner Zimmerman and I will provide those reports. I'm sorry, I have to move to another screen, so bear with me just for a second, please. Okay. A virtual meeting of the Combined Operations Committee and Audit, Finance, and Administration Committee was held on October 16th at 8:30. The draft minutes of that meeting are included in your board packet today under tab number 6. The Operations Committee is introducing 5 items on the consent agenda for your consideration today under item number 9, with the committee's recommendation of approval. The consent agenda items include a contract modification, time extension of contract with WSP USA for Metrolink station enhancements, resolution number 1088. Union Station Tunnel Rehab Design Services, resolution number 1089. The 2020 Annual Surplus Property Holdings, resolution number 1090. Bi-State Development Research Institute dissolution, resolution number 1091. The St. Louis Downtown Airport Surplus Property Holdings, resolution number 1092. In addition, at the committee meeting, several reports were provided to the committee, including the Bi-State Development 21 to 23 strategic plan, the draft fare program policy direction, and an operations report reshaping Metro Transit beyond COVID-19. This concludes my report for the Operations Committee, and I'll ask Commissioner Zimmerman to provide the report for Audit, Finance, and Administration.
Good morning, everyone. The Audit, Finance, and Administration Committee is introducing 3 items on the consent agenda for your consideration today under item number 7 with the committee's recommendation for approval. And those consent agenda items are agenda items number F, G, and H, F being contract modification, extension of contract with Cigna Healthcare, medical plan, administration services, and stop loss insurance coverage. Contract award, health and welfare plan consulting services, And number H, modification of contract awards for general legal services. In addition, at the October committee meeting, several reports were provided to the committee, including pension audit updates, IAD audit follow-up summary, first quarter fiscal year 2021, IAD status report, first quarter fiscal year 2021, IAD SSO status report, third quarter calendar year 2020, and the treasurer's report. This concludes my report for the Audit, Finance, and Administration Committee meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Zimmerman. We can move on now to the report of the Security Subcommittee. Commissioner Simmons, will you give the report, please?
Thank you. Upon discussion with the chairman of the board and the CEO, a decision was made to hold the meetings of the Security Subcommittee on a quarterly basis. No meetings of this committee has been held since the previous board meeting. The next meeting is scheduled to be held on January 14th to 2020. And if there are no objections going forward, the committee's name will be changed to the Safety and Security Committee to better reflect the purpose of this committee. This concludes my report as chairman.
Thank you. Under item number 8, we have an adjustment of the consent agenda. Are there any adjustments from the commission, from any of the commissioners to the consent agenda? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Simmons, so
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Thank you. Myra, do we need a roll call vote?
No, we do not.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any objections? Any abstentions? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 10. Amendment 26 to salaried pension plan. Highly enhanced retirement opportunity, the Hero Incentivized Retirement Program, resolution number 1096. If Chuck Stewart and Dave Tobin are available for comments, I would appreciate it.
Yes, Chuck Stewart, I am here today. It's my pleasure to present amendment number 26 to the salary pension plan. As you know, we introduced the HERO program in September of 2020, a highly enhanced retirement opportunity incentivized retirement program. This is a win-win, I think, for the company and our potential retirees. It basically gives the company an opportunity to reposition our human capital resources and at the same time recognize the contributions of potential retirees. The program was eligible to all members of the Salary Pension Committee, 55 years of age and older. The incentive was to grant a minimum of 2 years, up to 10% of additional credited service to those members. In addition to the credited service, they got an additional bonus, for lack of a better term, of $400 per month added to their pension payment over a period of 60 months. It opened in September. It closes on November 30th. This amendment has been approved by the Salary Pension Plan, and we're now asking the board to amend it, to approve it as well. Any questions?
Hearing none, thank you, Chuck, for that explanation. I actually am going to ask for a motion to approve the Incentivized Retirement Program, resolution number 1096.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? I'm sorry, I don't think I registered mine as an aye. And any abstentions? Hearing none, I think we can move on to item number 11. Amendment 3 to the Bi-State Development 401k plan. the IBEW collective bargaining agreement changes, resolution number 1097. Again, I would ask Mr. Stewart and Dave Tobin for comments.
Okay, that's me again. So when we bargained with IBEW, there were certain changes that were made in their contract. Basically, the two changes for IBEW employees that came on board after January 1, 2014, their contribution to the 401k has changed. They will get a 2% contribution to the 401k from the company. In addition, they will be allowed to get a match on any voluntary contributions of 2% up to 50% match on that contribution. In addition, a provision to the contract was that all IBEW employees could contribute up to 2% and get a 50% match. Any contributions, voluntary contributions, in addition to these 2% amounts would not be matched by the company. I think it's a good provision. I think it shows wisdom on the part of our IBEW partners in terms of trying to take care of their new people, while at the same time giving additional retirement benefits to the existing core of IBEW members. This has been approved by the salary pension plan, and we're asking now that the board approve it also.
Thank you. Are there questions or comments? I just have one quick question. I'm sure it's in the material, but it's been a couple of days since I looked at it. What is the vesting period for those?
Well, there's no vesting period. It's automatically vested.
It's immediate.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I'm glad that this is taking place. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Motion carries. Item number 12 is the intergovernmental agreement between the United States Army and Bi-State Development, resolution number 1098. Diana Bentz, will you please speak to this issue?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. The item before you is a request for your approval, allowing Bi-State Development to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the U.S. Army, and the agreement is for Bi-State to participate in the U.S. Army PAYS program. The PAYS program is a partnership for youth services, and it would allow us to be a strategic partner as PAYS connects employers with enlisted soldiers in the Army, the National Reserves, and the Army Reserves and the National Guard as they enter service. A database matches Bi-State's current and future job vacancies with skills related to the military occupational specialties in the Army. And a similar database is available for ROTC cadets who are also eligible. Soldiers do receive training in over 350 different positions, many of which are a strong match for positions at Bi-State Development. How it works is that soldiers will select 2 PAYS partners, and they're guaranteed an interview and possible employment after their service requirements are fulfilled. The benefits are that PAYS assists the Army in recruiting qualified men and women to meet the requirements of the Army, and organizations participating in PAYS benefit from the opportunity to interview and potentially employ professional and trained candidates with experience, demonstrated responsibility, and proven leadership skills. There's no financial obligation to participate, and the agreement can be ended unilaterally or mutually, provided a 90-day notice is given. I would be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious, is this done elsewhere? And I guess if not, I guess who came up with the idea?
So the idea is from the U.S. Army, and yes, it is done elsewhere. Companies like Coca-Cola and Amazon, federal governments, police units, they participate in this program as strategic partners.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I agree. I think it's a wonderful idea. I'm sorry we haven't done it up to this point. The only question I would have is, are there specific areas of employment that Bi-State is looking to fill, or is it in general?
Yes, so it's both, but it initially started with looking at some areas where we have a lot of requirements and turnover. So bus operations, because a lot of the positions have commercial driver's licenses already, mechanics, but we also can look at other types of positions, especially in the leadership realm.
That's great. I hope it's successful.
Thank you. I do too.
Hearing no other comments or questions, may I have a motion to approve?
Simmons.
Cox, second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Under number 13, we have a memorandum of understanding between Citizens for Modern Transit, St. Clair County Transit District, and Bi-State Development for the development of a bus stop at Emerson Park Metrolink Station, excuse me, resolution number 1104. I would ask Talby Roach for comments.
Very good. Good morning. So this is a fabulous program. We've done the exact program over in Maplewood at the Maplewood stop. Very successful enhancement in which our partners, Citizens for Modern Transit, helped us reach out to the community and funded and did a really fabulous enhancement of a bus stop there. But in this case, we're taking the same show over to St. Clair County in partnership with St. Clair County Transit District. St. Clair County Transit District is investing in this partnership, makes a ton of sense. And so we're moving forward on that. I want to keep moving along, and there's no real cost to the agency, but because there has to be a specific MOU, I did have to bring it to the board. So that's where we are. Any questions?
Hearing none, I think I can ask for a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Simmons abstains.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting dates for 2021. A draft schedule of the 2021 board and committee meeting dates was distributed to the Board of Commissioners in October for review. Staff has received no objections to the dates. If there are no objections and no discussion, I'd like to move forward with a motion to approve the dates for the 2021 calendar year.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. We'll move on to item number 15, unscheduled business. Chairman Roach, President Roach, is there any unscheduled business that you're aware of?
I have none, Chair. Thank you.
Any of the commissioners?
I have one for Jessica on October 19th. I got an email back, Jessica, on the 4 items that I'd asked for on the SMART program, and I never did receive anything else. Is that still being worked on the SMART program card?
Commissioner, we provided a white paper on the fare collection project. Ms. Bennett, do you know, was that sent? That was prepared in October, shortly after it was requested, Commissioner.
Yeah, I got the October 19th where you listed the 4 items, and I hadn't received anything else, and I've checked my end.
Okay, you know what?
If you could send that again.
Let me check with Myra about that, but we did prepare an extensive white paper on fare collection.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other unscheduled business? Okay, then I think we can move on to the operations report. And Jessica Meffer-Miller is here for comments.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'd like to share my screen with you and review briefly performance information about from the last quarter. So today I'm going to just give a couple of operations updates. I'd like to also provide you with an update on our evolving COVID response. At our next operations committee meeting, which I believe to be in January, I'd like to have a focused conversation with you about capital program. So with respect to budget this calendar year, our ridership remains stable. Most recently, we have data from the month of October. We're continuing to be down almost 60% in ridership relative to pre-pandemic levels for MetroLink, while Metro Bus is holding steady at about 48 to 50% pre-pandemic ridership levels. Our budget figures at the bottom of the screen, our expenses are running about 8.5% behind our budget, while our revenue is falling about 9.5% below budget. So that 1% gap will be covered by CARES funding that Mr. Roach mentioned earlier. So we're continuing to monitor our regular expenses. Our expenses are down, by the way, because we are operating less than our budgeted service. Of course, our revenues, including sales tax and passenger revenue, are lagging behind our projections. And so that gap we're monitoring very closely each month, as well as our COVID-related expenditures to ensure that our plan for CARES allocation is staying on track. And to date, I'm pleased to report that it is. Again, we aim to stabilize our service in June of 2021. In March of 2021, we do aim to make some adjustments to service, including changing the way we're providing it. We've got some enhancements to our cleaning program that I think is going to allow us a little more flexibility, so our service will look a bit more like it did pre-pandemic. And right now we're monitoring our service very closely. We're deploying additional buses on busy routes at select times of day in response to demand so that we can provide some measure of social distancing aboard our buses for the benefit of our customers as well as our operators. I want to commend our Metro Bus, MetroLink, and Colorado operations teams for continuing to sustain our present service level, even in the face of increased caseload of COVID-19 across our region and across our team. Not only are they performing scheduled service, but they have been available to provide that additional service when it has been necessary. Our COVID response, now in its 8th month, has recently increased from what we call a threat level 2 to a threat level 3. And what that means is that our emergency operations center and the team members that are supporting it are providing additional services to our customers and to our staff. In the last couple of weeks, we have increased our vigilance regarding mask compliance for both our customers and our team members. We've had repeated communications with our team members regarding mask compliance and wristband compliance. Those wristbands are worn every day by team members who pass through a temperature portal, and that's an opportunity for us to ensure not only that team members are without a fever, but they are wearing a mask and they are equipped with the PPE necessary. At all of our operating facilities, near those temperature portals, we have PPE vending machines so that staff can obtain masks, gloves, and hand sanitizer at their point of entry. Our service level remains stable. Our absenteeism has ticked up just a little bit, but not to the point that it has impacted service. We will continue to keep you apprised of our response in that situation. We're also working to make our COVID response more effective from a cost standpoint, as well as a risk mitigation standpoint, and make it more financially sustainable as we are in a much longer response than we anticipated back when we began in early March. Within our revenue vehicles, we've got a couple of different cleaning and sanitation procedures that we're testing. One is using ionized air kits to try and reduce the likelihood of airborne viruses aboard our Metrobus vehicles. This is especially helpful on Metrobus vehicles like Metrolink trains. You can't open the windows. And so we're doing what we can to improve not only air circulation, but air purifying. We're also experimenting with a surface cleaning product called Zuno that we hope will help us maintain the cleanliness of our surfaces on board our revenue vehicles and within some of our operating environments inside of facilities for a period of 24 hours. That's especially important for high-touch surfaces like inside of our buses or highly volatile environments like our operations control center. That would be an enhancement to our existing sanitation procedures. We're also, as we all are anticipating a vaccine. We're working with our partners at the Federal Transit Administration to ensure that Metro would receive a delivery of vaccines either from the Federal Transit Administration or from our local partners once federal stockpile is sufficient, that those vaccines would be distributed ideally on site to our team members. Of course, none of us have a date yet for that, but we are preparing for that eventuality. This concludes my report. Are there any questions I may answer for you today?
Seeing none. Thanks very
Thank you.
much, Jessica. Appreciate the information, and please pass on our gratitude to the operations staff. They're doing phenomenal work and we're really appreciative. The next item, that item was informational only. The next item is dates for future meetings. So Myra, could you please read those?
Yes, as of last night, actually a meeting was scheduled, a special meeting of the board, which will be held on Monday, November 30th at 1 p.m. We also have the next security subcommittee meeting on Thursday, January 14th at 8:30 a.m. The audit, finance, and administration committee on Friday, January 22nd at 8:30 a.m., followed by the operations committee meeting on January 22nd at 9:30 a.m. And the next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Friday, February 19th at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you. We will now move to executive session. I need a motion that this committee go into executive session for the purpose of discussing legal, confidential, or privileged matters as permitted under Bi-State Development Board Policy, Chapter 10, Section 10.080, D1, legal, D2, real estate, D3, personnel, and D10, auditors. You have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please, Myra?
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Costello, Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Windmiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Galladay,
Yes.
Commissioner Gully,
Yes.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
Yes.
The motion passed.
Thank you. This concludes the open session of our meeting. We'll move into executive session. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. We're ready to begin.
Thank you, Brenda. The board has reconvened to the open session. Per board policy, no final action votes will be taken in closed executive session. For items requiring final action, a roll call vote shall be taken in open session. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the September 25th, 2020 Board of Commissioners meeting executive session as a closed record?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Myra, please call the roll.
Commissioner Gully,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Galladay,
Yes.
Commissioner Windmiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Zimmerman,
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Costello,
Aye.
Commissioner Beach.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items, including A, intercompany accounts payable riverboat operations, B, draft year-end financial audit, C, draft procurement card program audit, and D, audit of failed DOT medical exams?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Myra, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Galladay,
Yes.
Commissioner Zimmerman,
Yes.
Commissioner Costello,
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gully,
Yes.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Winmiller.
Aye.
The motion passed.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the settlement the settlement authority for liability claim number VL 2018073115, resolution number 103 as presented?
Yes.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Gully,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Galladay,
Yes.
Commissioner Zimmerman,
Yes.
Commissioner Costello,
Aye.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Winmiller.
Aye.
The motion passed.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the pandemic pay policy resolution number 1105 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Gully,
Yes.
Commissioner Galladay,
Yes.
Commissioner Costello,
Aye.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Winmiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
Yes.
The motion passed.
Thank you. If there's no further business to come before the board, I would request a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you all. We are adjourned.
Thank you.